afternoon to you all and happy Friday. How are you doing? Greetings from sunny Dubai. Let me know where you are in the world. How are you doing? Just waiting for a few people to join us. How are you? How is February going for you? Middle of February already. Isn't this year racing by? How are you doing? Let me know where in the world you are joining from. Give me a wave. Hello, hi, thanks for joining. Hi Sandy, hi Phil, nice to see you. Give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Happy Friday to you. How are you doing? Greetings from Dubai. Let me know where in the world you are joining us from. I hope that you are doing really well. Hi Belinda, nice to see you. Marcus as well, thanks for joining. How are you? How are you? Happy Friday. How has this week been for you? Lockdown in the UK. I know that many of you are juggling homeschooling with running a business, which is pretty tough, right? And lots of snow in the UK, I know. Let me know how that's been impacting you and your business. We've had no snow here in Dubai, but we have had the most amazing fog the last few mornings. Woke up and couldn't see anything at all. Not even a building, not even the top of a building. Absolutely amazing. So some kind of freaky weather here as well, although not as pretty as you've had in the UK. So what have you been working on this week? Has it been a good one? Hi, thanks for joining. Give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Nice to see you. Let me know what you've been working on this week. Has it been a good week? Do let me know. I've had another quite tough week, I would say. I haven't been feeling great physically, so been focusing very much on looking after myself. But business is great. Lots, mainly client coaching sessions this week. Plus also was running a values and culture workshop for an engineering company that's growing fast. So always great to meet a new team. I'm going to be working with them over a number of workshops over the coming months. We had a really great session looking at how personal values kind of come together and form company values, and also discussing what kind of culture they're looking to build. So that was really great. I've also had a number of clarity calls with people from this group. If you'd like to get past your blockers, take that next step in your business, then you can book in a call with me and let's give you a good dose of clarity. I have a few slots each week that I open up that I make available for these calls. So if you'd like a little bit of clarity in your life, grab one of those slots, absolutely free. You can find the link in the pinned post at the top of this group. So that's what I've been up to. What about you? It seems like it's a pretty busy time for most people that I speak to. I hope that you and your business are thriving. But if you're not, then that's okay as well. Please let me know what support you need, and remember that you're not alone. So last week we were looking at routines and standards, right? Something that many of you are working on, I know, and I've had many conversations with some of you in terms of progressing through that first quarter and really setting yourself up for success for the rest of the year. So let me know what you took away from that live. We talked about your non-negotiables and also how to build routines that work for you. We also spent a bit of time looking at how to clear your head by getting rid of and closing some of those open loops. So we were talking about the process that I use, the focus formula that I use with many of my clients, just to help you get your head clear and kind of feel refreshed and close all those loops that are so debilitating in our brain. So if you didn't get a chance to watch last week's live, you can find that live and all of the other lives in the group's units, which are actually now called guides. So Facebook has changed the name of those units. They're now called guides. We've got 4 guides in this group. We've got a welcome guide with some information about me and about the group, and then 3 guides that are filled with resources and all the lives dated back to when we started this community all the way back in June 2019. So the first guide is called Simplify Your Business, and that's got loads of hints and tips on how to make your life easier, how to organise your time, and also how to focus on what's important. Then there's the Grow Your Business guide, which is all about client acquisition, scaling your business and managing people. And finally, very importantly, there's the Enjoy Your Business guide, which focuses on you and your role and how to ensure that the business you're building continues to delight and inspire you. What we really don't want is for you to be falling out of love with your business. So everything that I do and everything that I talk about falls into one of those 3 categories, and they are organised into those 3 guides in this group: Simplify, Grow and Enjoy, and so that you can easily find the support that you need. I want all 3 of those for each and every one of you, of course, but you'll know which one is needed for you right now. So as you know, I tend to take my cues from you in terms of what would be helpful for me to cover during these lives, and sometimes maybe I'll read about something or I'll reflect on a past experience and take those learnings to share with you. Often I share things from my book or things that I'm working on with my clients. But most of all, these lives come from conversations, from questions and requests that I get from this community, maybe during those clarity calls that I was mentioning. So do let me know where you're stuck, what questions do you have, and what challenges are you facing. So during January's lives, I was really focused on helping you get clear about what you want and how to kind of get yourself set up. But now, as we're into February, I'm focused much more on how do we implement, and going into March as well, it will be very much like, how do you put those building blocks in place? How do you implement what you really want? And so this week's live is really building on last week's discussion around routines and standards. And today we're talking about dealing with pressure. And I'm just going to grab myself some water. So yeah, what is it? Where does it come from? And how do we use pressure as a positive force? What are your thoughts on that? Whether you're just starting out with an idea, whether you've got an established business with clients or a team, I should say, or maybe you're scaling fast and expanding into new markets, dealing with pressure is really key to your success as a business owner. So how do you set goals? How do you prioritize? And how do you keep yourself focused on the road ahead? So first of all, I just want to look at what is pressure? What do we mean when we use that word? We experience pressure when something is important to us, when we feel that we need to deliver or we need to perform. What happens when we feel overwhelmed is that pressure turns into stress, when there are too many demands on us, and then we lose our ability to respond or cope in an appropriate way. And that's really the difference between pressure and stress. We use those words interchangeably, but pressure actually can be a positive force, whereas stress is almost when it turns into the negative, if you like. So where does this pressure come from? Many demands on us are, of course, external, so the pressure to pay the bills or keep up with the competition, but often the stress is actually generated internally when we fail to live up to our own high standards and our own high expectations. And in my work coaching the owners of small businesses, I see the impact of chasing somebody else's version of success, where when we use that comparison, if you like, to beat ourselves with a stick, when people drive themselves through exhaustion and towards burnout, only to realise then that what they're building is not really what's making them happy. And so a really important question is, what does success look like for you? Some of you want to build a lifestyle business, maybe with you at the centre delivering a fantastic product or service. Maybe it's a business that generates a decent income for you and your family, but also gives you a lot of flexibility to focus on other parts of your life that are important. Some of you are looking to build a business that's scalable, a team that will deliver several great products and services to clients in multiple markets, something that you can maybe one day sell or at least not be so involved with the day-to-day. And I know that some of you are hugely ambitious, you're going all out for world domination, maybe even unicorn status. And you know what? Any and all of those are totally fine and absolutely great. It all depends on what works for you. Some people are crushing it in the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning, and others want the flexibility to pick up their kids from school. The important question is, what do you want? What's your version of success? What does a business that really works for you look like? You see, most of the pressure that we feel is not coming from those external factors. Most of it comes from inside our heads. Those comparisons we make, those sticks that we use to beat ourselves with. Pressure is actually a really powerful motivator, but not when it turns into stress. And so today I want to share with you my 10 top tips for dealing with pressure and preventing it from becoming a negative, from it becoming that stress. So firstly, my first top tip is keep a track of what motivates you and also what stresses you. And you can do that by keeping a journal. It's really important to be able to look back, and it enables you to spot patterns in your behaviour and in also how you feel. So keeping a journal, keeping a record of what feels good but also what feels stressful is a really good way of starting to deal with that pressure and channeling it actually into a force for good, into something that can motivate you. The second tip that I've got is to plan time out between activities, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes. You see, it's not just the activities or even the amount of tasks that you have on your plate that causes that feeling of overwhelm. It's the lack of pauses in between that overloads our brain and turns it into cotton wool. So if you take a few moments out at the end of each call, at the end of each task, just to put the kettle on, look out the window, contemplate life, switch off for a couple of minutes before moving on to that next thing, that will enable you to feel that pressure but in a positive way and not for it to turn into stress. So plan time out between activities. My next tip is to establish boundaries between work and home life. We were talking a little bit about this last week. Everything is so mixed up at the moment with so many of us working from home. Think about and decide what time do you want to start work and what time do you want to finish work every day. Agree some ground rules with yourself, but also with the people that you live with and the people that you work with. Make sure that those boundaries are clear for you, and that will enable you to keep the stress at bay. Choose one key focus for each day, each week, each month. We do like to overcomplicate things, so instead really focus on making things simple, and that will enable you to deal with the pressure by just really focusing on one thing at a time. So what's your key focus for today? What's your key focus for the rest of today? What do you want to get done in the second half of this day? What's your key focus for next week? A great way of relaxing is by doing something creative. So what do you love to do? Maybe it's drawing, maybe it's painting, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's creating music, maybe it's writing, non-work writing. Do something creative. It's a really great stress buster, and it enables us to relax and also enables our brain to go into a different place that will enable you to problem solve better and deal with that pressure. Next, pause before reacting. So many of us will react to situations, particularly high pressure situations. But if you just take a moment, take a breath, that enables you to respond instead of reacting. So just take that moment so that you stay in control of your responses rather than biting back and reacting. And that's a good example of where pressure can flip into stress really quickly. Next, my advice is definitely go with your gut. Do things your way. Stop doing things the way that you think you should. Stop doing what everybody else is doing. Do it your way. Go with your gut. Trust your instinct. Trust your gut. A lot of stress comes from comparisons with other people. This is your life, this is your business, this is your journey. Stop comparing yourself to other people. By all means, learn, but do things your way. My next tip is definitely to identify your most productive time of day and use your energy wisely. So some people are morning people and some people start slow in the morning. So I wake up really fresh in the morning, and my husband is much fresher in the evening, so he takes some time to warm up, whereas by about 6 o'clock in the evening I've turned into a pumpkin. So when is your really productive time of day, and use that knowledge to tackle the really important things, or maybe those things that you find more challenging. Get those done when you're feeling most productive. Use your energy wisely. We've talked a lot about what gives you energy, what drains your energy, so use your energy wisely through the day in terms of when you are more productive, and each and every one of us is different, right? Break down your tasks into manageable chunks. So one of my top tips in terms of being productive, but in terms of also channeling this pressure that we're talking about, is to separate the doing from the deciding. So often if we have a task that we're challenged with, that we're struggling to get going with, that can cause the pressure to build up, and we put ourselves under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, right? And a really good way of dealing with that is to break that task down into manageable chunks, but more importantly, or more specifically, divide up the deciding from the doing. So what I mean is, put it into your calendar. Say I'm going to do it on Monday, let's say. I'm going to do this task on Monday, and put it into your calendar. You know, I'm going to do it Monday at 10 o'clock. Great. But instead of just leaving it at that, which many of us do, what I suggest that you do, and what works really well, I suggest this to many of my clients that are struggling with this, and I find it really useful. Put in that calendar invite the steps that you need to do. So decide what you're going to do and break it down into those manageable chunks, as I mentioned, and put that in the calendar invite. And you know what? It's really magic, because what happens if you see that task on your to-do list, one of the reasons why it's stressing you and it's putting you under pressure is that your brain is trying to figure out what the things are that you need to do, like what are the steps. But if you decide what the steps are and you separate that out from the doing, when you come to do, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I need to do that, and then I need to do that, and then I need to, okay, great. It just is a really smart way of separating the different types of tasks. So deciding what you need to do, you can call that maybe a more creative process. That's different than just getting on and doing stuff, right? So if you separate those things out, that is a really good way to channel that pressure into something positive, because you can hit the ground running. You already know what you're doing and you can just get on with it. So break down the tasks into manageable chunks and separate the deciding from the doing. And my final top tip for managing pressure and dealing with pressure is to slow down. Last week I was talking about how busy we all are all of the time, and busyness has almost become a bit of a badge of honor, right? I was talking about this last week, you know, busy. People go, how are you? Oh, I'm busy. Like, that's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing necessarily. Yes, we want thriving businesses, of course we do. But when we're too busy, we actually fail to spot things. We actually fail to make really good decisions. So slow down. You will see more. You will make better decisions. It will actually help you move faster. Just slow yourself down. So they are my top tips, my 10 top tips for dealing with pressure. Let me know your questions and comments. I'm really interested to know, how do you deal with pressure? Just going to see what comments we've got. Lots of thumbs up and waves. Hi to all of you. Junior, yes, love this. It works so much better with steps in the calendar. Absolutely. So Junior is a good example of somebody that we've been working together for a while, and we use this technique, and this has made a big difference to you, right, Junior? Just separating out. I think it was the example that I can think of from our work together. It was video editing, right? So you'd see this. I've got to edit a video, and it would always stress you, and you would put it off, and then separating things out. So what are the things you need to do? You needed to decide on the video clips, you needed to decide on the music, you needed to decide what you wanted to do, and you put those steps in the calendar invite, and then you move on to the next task. And so then when you come to it, it's like, yes, I know what I need to do. So Megan, hi Megan, nice to see you. I recently had to run from pressure and want to drop the business when it gets too much and overwhelming. Yeah, do you know what? Many people experience that, and I'm sorry to hear that you have experienced that, Megan. A lot of people feel a huge amount of pressure, and one of the reasons why I do what I do is I see a lot of people falling out of love with their business, and I really want to help you before you get to that stage. The pressure, I don't know how long you've been watching, Megan, but the pressure, a lot of that often comes from ourselves, and so it's important to recognise where the pressure is coming from. There are the external factors, but also a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. Hopefully you found some of those top tips useful. Do book in a clarity call with me. Let me help you take that next step in your business. What do you need to make you feel more confident? Book in that clarity call. It's totally free. Let's get you moving past whatever is blocking your progress, and let's get you on to the next challenge. So before I close up for today, I want to give you some next steps, some sort of concrete things now that you can that I suggest you do as a result of today's live. So number one, spend a few minutes thinking about how you define success. So rather than chasing somebody else's version of success, make sure that you're following your own dream and not somebody else's. Number two, look at the next few months and choose a focus. Choose one thing for each of the next few months. What's the key thing that you want to achieve in each of the next few months? And then look at next month and break the next month into weeks and do the same. What one thing each of those weeks will contribute up to your focus for the monthly goal, for the goal that you're setting for that month. And then for next week, have one thing per day that you focus on. That doesn't mean that that's the only thing that you do, but put your energy into doing that one thing really, really well. And finally, my third piece of homework for you, if you like, have a think about how you can introduce some creativity and fun into your life. I've shared with you that I'm quite a serious soul, and so it's one of the things that I make sure that I focus on each week is what can I do to laugh more, what can I do to be more creative, what can I do to have more fun. It really does, I know that things are really, really tough at the moment, but it's important that we keep ourselves feeling happy, right? Creativity feeds the soul, and fun stops us taking ourselves too seriously. So how can you introduce more of that into your life? Please do let me know how you get on with those three things. Take some time to really think about what's going to work for you. Just looking at some comments. Yeah, Megan's talking about taking on too much. Yeah, I think it's something that many of us do, right? Taking on too much. And that's why I was talking about breaking things down into manageable chunks and also prioritizing. It's one of the things that I work a lot with my clients on is there's always so many different things that we need to do. And getting really clear about the priority, the order that we need to do things just makes us feel much more in control and much more confident. So yeah, booking a call, Megan. I'd love to talk that through with you. So I'm going to close up today's live with 2 quotes about goals and about pressure. So the first one is from Robert Horry. He's an American professional basketball player and now commentator. And what he has to say about pressure is pressure can burst a pipe, or pressure can make a diamond. And I love that. It's all about how we deal with that pressure, right? And we see that, I think we see that throughout our lives. You know, sometimes we feel like the pressure's going to make us burst, and other times actually it's the pressure, if you like, that actually makes us create great things and makes us really take that next step in our business in terms of solving our clients' problems and really serving our clients. So think about how you can stop the pressure from bursting the pipe and instead channel it into making diamonds. So take a look back at my 10 top tips for dealing with pressure, and hopefully that will help you. My second quote is from Andrew Carnegie. He was a Scottish-American industrialist and also philanthropist. You try saying that. And what he has to say is, if you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. I love that quote. It's all about deciding what's important to you and how you want to spend your time. Decide that up front and then really stick to that. Building a business is tough, right? It can be a long, hard road. Make sure you're building something meaningful to you that will sustain you through those tough times. Be intentional. Say no to those things that don't serve you or the goal that you want to achieve. And as I pass it back over to you, as I do every week, that is what I want you to take from today. What is the outcome that you're seeking? What is the result? What is the goal that's going to work for you? What is it that you really want? What does success look like for you? Put your energy into getting really clear about that. But allow yourselves to do things your way. Yes, by all means, learn from me, learn from others. But when you synthesize all that learning, when you bring it inside of you, what comes out must be congruent with you, what works for you. If you want to build something, then go for it, brilliant. But if you want to do your thing, then that's okay too. Focus on listening to yourself and asking yourself, what do you need so that you can spend more time in your flow? And don't forget that the opposite of flow is friction. And so if things aren't really working, then slow down, take a step back and focus on getting some clarity. Get some objective input, hire the services of a business coach, take some time to look at what you're doing, and also where an easier path would start from and lead to. Ask yourself, what would a business that really works for me look like? What would that look like? Let me know your thoughts and questions on this or any other topic relating to how to simplify, grow and enjoy your business. What area of business would you like me to speak about next? I am so enjoying this very special year. Yes, it's a very challenging year, but it's a very special year for you and for your business. And I'm enjoying working with you and supporting you and serving you through this very special year. If you haven't already claimed your free copy of my book, The Real Entrepreneur, then go to therealentrepreneur.book.com, or if you prefer an Audible or Kindle version, you can find those on Amazon. If you check out chapters 1, 2 and 3, the first section of my book, for more on building resilience, get the foundations right and you can really build from there. I really hope that you have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with. I wish you a happy and peaceful time wherever you're watching from in the world. I hope that you are safe and well. As always, if you want to talk, then you know where I am. Book in that clarity call and let's help you take that next step. Please remember to be where you are in the journey. You don't need to know it all, and you definitely don't need to do it all. Take care, stay safe and keep in touch. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.